Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Canadian Immigrant Web Conference series, being sponsored by Windmill Microlending and English Pronunciation for Success. This industry-specific web conference is for internationally educated IT professionals. So welcome. Note that if you're not able to make it, this is being recorded and will be posted on our website to watch for those that can't be here. So to begin, I'm thrilled to introduce our first speaker from Information and Communications Technology Council, Mosey Malcolm. Mosey works, am I saying your name right?
Yeah, it's Mosey.
Mosey, okay, thank you. Mosey works for ICTC as the Employment and Coaching Coordinator for Go Talent and Coach Connect program with the Immigrant Initiatives team. He has been in the employment industry for the past 4 years and has worked for 2 nonprofit organizations, as well as an Employment Ontario company, where he developed and honed his skills. Mosey has a passion for learning and integrating newcomers into Canada while informing them of all the benefits, job practices, and loopholes to the Canadian labor market. He is a graduate of York University with a bachelor's in sociology and Centennial College for social service work, with a strong connection and passion for working with and around people. So we're going to start, but if you have any questions for Mosey, please feel free to type them in the chat box or by clicking chat and type them on the right-hand side. So we will answer them at the end of the presentation. You can also email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. So Mosey, thank you for joining us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Ramya. If you just like, I'll just give, let's just share my screen so that everyone can view the presentation.
Great.
Can everyone see my screen just so that I can be clear?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So like Ramya said, thank you once again for the introduction. My name is Mosey Malcolm and I work for ICTC, so Information and Communications Technology Council. There I am the Employment and Coaching Coordinator. And today I'll be letting you guys know a little bit more about the labor market information for the digital economy in Canada. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about ICTC. So what is ICTC? ICTC is broken down into 2 sections where we speak about talent and we speak about research. Myself, working on the Immigration Initiatives team, I'm fortunate enough to be working on the talent side. So I do have that access where I work with employers, and I also work with newcomers or IEPs, or so internationally educated participants who are looking to find work in Canada. So specifically as a whole, what we do at ICTC is we are an independent and neutral policy advisor to business and governments across Canada. We are an authoritative source of technology, economic, and labor market research. So we do talk about a lot of LMI information. We are a leader in capacity building programs and solutions for the digital economy, and we are a creative and responsive team, which is still growing. ICTC has been around since 1992, so just over 28 years. We've been doing this work where we work directly with talent, and we also work directly with the research team so that we can hone everything when it comes to that IT umbrella. So ICTC fosters globally competitive and inclusive digital economy empowered by innovative digital solutions. So what does that mean? We've broken it down into 5 components. So we have partnerships, which consists of industries where we partner with other industries like ourselves, education and governments, because that's usually where we get our funding. Research, so like I said earlier, where we're going to be talking about labor market information, which will probably be the core of this specific presentation. Technology and economics would be composed in research. Talent programs, so we have a variety of programs. I'll open that up to you guys later if we'd like to talk about other programs. We've got Go Talent, we've got Coach Connect, we've got Cyber Titan, all of these different talent programs for IEPs who are looking to find that comfort in Canada. Policy advice, so that's evidence-based, so everything is based on evidence, and online tools. Those are the key things that separates ICTC from maybe other nonprofit organizations like ourselves. where we have that opportunity to have an e-talent e-talent portal where employers and candidates have that platform together where they're able to communicate as far as job postings and as far as job listings. Okay, and job openings. So approximately 90% of jobs in Canada require some level of technology. I do understand that today and the year that we are in is 2020, so I'm sure that's not to any surprise of any of us. Canadian digital economy employs about 1.4 million people. Okay, so we do cover quite a lot when you're talking about that digital economy, right? And there's 305,000 digital workers will be in demand across all Canadian industries by 2023. Okay. So ICT sector is a key pillar of Canada's economy. What do I mean by that? $94.2 billion in 2019. And that number is continuing to grow, okay? 4.8% of Canada's total output is out of that ICT sector, 4.9% growth in 2019, and that number is expected to grow. The trajectory is continued to grow over the next coming years up until 2023. 40,000 businesses operating in the ICT sector across Canada. So if you think about all the Canadian employers that we have in Canada, 40,000 of them have something to do with the ICT sector. So working in that IT umbrella or in that ICT sector field is extremely critical when migrating to Canada. So ICT sector versus the digital economy. You might be thinking, what's the difference? Well, ICT sectors are people who work specifically in an ICT sector, right? So an example, an accountant working for a software company, that's somebody who's working in the ICT sector, okay? Opposed to, and that's 48% of the actual entire economy. 52% work as like a software developer working at Canada's oldest bank. So they're working at Canada's bank, which would make it something outside of IT, but they are working specifically as a software developer, which is an IT position. So they're still contributing to the IT society. And on top of that, they are still, it's more than 50% of people would be working in that capacity. So at ICTC, we do have the access for at our website, which is ictc-ctic.ca, where we do offer monthly snapshots as far as what are some of those trends and labor market information that you can find for specific Canadian IT sectors. So Canada's ICT sector employs 932,200. ICT jobs in other sectors is 920,710. Canada's digital economy is over 1,852,910, and ICT jobs within the digital economy is 1,493,510. So these are large numbers, and we do capture this quarterly and monthly at our website if for those who would like more additional information in regards to labor market trends. So national and ICT sector unemployment rates as of May 2020. So unemployment rates in total in Canada is 13.7%. But in comparison to the ICT, it's 6%. So what does that mean? You have more likely of being employed if you're working in the ICT sector opposed to any other sector in regards to employment. Okay, when you're talking about women, 11% of women in Canada are unemployed, but only 6.5% are unemployed in the ICT sector. Okay, 25% of youth are unemployed in Canada, but on the contrary, 14.4% are actually unemployed in the ICT sector. And also for immigrants, which might apply to most of us on the call, Canada, 12% of immigrants are unemployed, but only 7% are unemployed in the ICT sector. So get in with the IT so that you can understand what different fields of IT, since it's such a large umbrella, what you can branch out on into to make yourself more employable in Canada. So the supply of digitally skilled talent in Canada. So employment diversity in ICT jobs. So 320,900 women are employed in the ICT sector. 74,800 youth are employed, And this is a whopping 523,800 immigrants are employed in that IT sector. So I know that there's been a notion or a connotation as far as, I might be an immigrant and I might have been a software developer in my home country, or I might have been a web designer in my home country, and I'm coming to Canada, and I might not feel like the need is not necessarily there, so I might not sell my skills out there, put all of my skills or programming languages or things that I've learned over the course of my employment career on my resume, because you might not feel like, oh, it might be beneficial to you in Canada. But these numbers are telling us the opposite, that if you are someone who is living in a country outside of Canada and you are looking to migrate to Canada and you work in the IT sector, there is most definitely more than enough employment out here in Canada for you to be beneficial and to be successful while here in Canada. So when I break it down into our provincial share of digital economy employment, I don't think it should come to any surprise that obviously Ontario occupies almost half, which is 45% of the entire digital economy provincial-wide. Next is Quebec, obviously, with 24%, and then British Columbia, 13%. So those are the top three that you would want to focus on. So for those of you who may still be in your home country and have not decided on where specifically you would want to land, or where specifically what province you would like to land in, this is some data and some information that you should take as valuable information in regards to you knowing what exactly, where I would want to land according to the job market in what province. Okay, so proportion of immigrants in ICT positions by province. So like I said again, Ontario is leading with 56%, Quebec is second with 16.6%, and British Columbia is at 16.1%. So once again, like the last slide previously, the top 3-4 positions and provinces in Canada that are looking to hire or who have the highest employment rates for IT is Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. Okay. So Canada's growth currency. So like I said earlier, here's our website for ICTC. This is where we are able to look at a lot of digital talent outlooks and trends, Canada's growth and currency. These are things that the trends of technology that you would want to focus on. So that is always there for your disposal. You guys can take this picture, write it down. I can always share the link with you guys afterwards. So the employment outlook. When we're talking about employment outlook from 2018 to 2023, you can clearly see from this graph that I have here on the screen that the trajectory of this is only going to increase, right? So as of 2017, it was at 1.8 million, right? But as of 2023, it is expected to project to 2.16 million employed in Canada as far as that IT sector goes, okay? So this is just a different one from the employment digital economy as far as the old forecast from 2015 until 2021. As you can, as you can see here, it's continually steadily growing. So IT in Canada was definitely still one of our main sectors and one of the most employable sectors in Canada. Okay. So when we're talking about top 15 in-demand occupations, this might step out to a lot of you. This might be the real, meat of this presentation as far as what specific job titles or what specific positions can I apply to, or can I apply to that will have the most chances of me finding employment. And these are them right here as far as in the demand of digital roles and as far as business as well. So very big positions are software developers, data scientists, data analysts, UX and UI designers, full stack developers, cybersecurity analysts, DevOps engineers, machine learning engineers, database administrators, and IT support specialists. On the business side of things, we have business development managers, project managers, business analysts, and digital marketers and researchers. These are the top positions, top 15 positions that are most in demand in Canada as of right now and will be for the next coming years. Okay. So May 2020, highest number of new jobs this month. There's been an additional 6,400 jobs in the computer network technicians and also 6,300 in computer information and system managers. So that's also just reinforcing the point that I'm trying to make, where IT in Canada is growing and it is only getting bigger and faster and more up to date with everything that's going on in the world right now. Okay. So immigrants and key roles. So a lot of you with being immigrants, you might want to say, what are some of the roles that I might be a little bit more successful in, or what are some things that we can, you know, kind of project for when I'm there. Here it is broken down in a pretty neat graph. So business development managers, 69% of them are actually born in Canada, but 31% of them are born outside of Canada and they migrate to here and they are able to find employment. Okay, web designers, 62% to 38%. And as you can see, as it continuously goes down, majority of software developers, if I could just bring your attention to the bottom, a majority of software developers working in Canada were not born in Canada. And you can also see for something even as simple as database administrators, it's 50-50. So my recommendation is to put yourselves out there, tailor your resume, you know, create good cover letters, create that strong LinkedIn profile so that you have that opportunity to connect with other people so that you can put yourselves in positions to actually be employed in Canada, because the statistics are here and we do know that these things are tangible and these things do happen in Canada. Okay. So, like I said before, some of our top occupations in the digital economy, you can see some of our top positions, whether it be on LinkedIn, Workopolis, Indeed, you know, you name it. The Canada Job Bank. There's tons of places where you can find out what are those top occupations across Canada, so that when I land in the digital economy, how will I be able to directly impact that and do what's best for my family at the time while living in Canada, right? So we've got software developers, data scientists, DevOps, IT support specialist, machine learning, all of these positions that we've already talked about. And this is what some of these positions might look like, right? You can see a lot of the different companies that we have here, right? So we've got big ones like KPMG, Cority, we've got BrainStation, and you might have some smaller startups, you know, we got Bow Valley College, but you've also got the smaller, you know, startup companies, maybe like a TDI firm that are just looking to get started. Either way, the opportunities in Canada are not necessarily endless, but they are out there. Granted, I know that we are living in a times right now where COVID is present, and you know it has definitely put a little bit of a damp on the employment spike, which has been going on as of right recently. But that is not to say that companies are not still interviewing. That's not to know that companies are still not, you know, hiring. It's only because like working in IT, and most of the things were going to be done remotely anyways. So it's, if anything, it's just pushed it as far as, you know, with everything happening where most people are now working from home, you now have that opportunity to market yourself as someone who is also going to be working from home, especially in that IT industry. Okay. So changing the nature of employment and the drivers that will shape our digital economy. So we've broken it down into growing automation, non-traditional education and work, broadening the digital value chain, and demographic shift and diversity dividend. So when I'm talking about growing automation, in 2017, the federal budget announced a vision for Canada to become a global leader in innovation. So grounded in the Innovation and Skills Plan 30, 6 economic strategy tables were created to track, understand, support the needs of business in key areas of the economy, right? So a recent report identified the automation driven by technologies like AI and robotics can lead to more than 350 million workers globally needing to acquire new skills by 2030. So the need for workforce that is agile and adaptable is essential. So this essentially means not only understanding which jobs will see demand, but taking the necessary steps to gain the skills needed for those specific roles. So whatever that programming language might be, or whatever those technical skills might be as well, right? So when we're talking about non-traditional education and work, developments like remote working or the rise of the gig However, more and more are looking to alternative methods like short duration training, boot camps, and even MOOCSs to obtain the education needed for future careers. Okay? Broadening the digital value chain, the growing emergence of smart cities, for example, will bring the forefront questions related to governance, infrastructure, mobility needs, environmental considerations, and many more. Okay? And when we talk about that demographic shift, our society is aging rapidly. The 2016 census found that the first time ever, age 65 made up a bigger portion of Canadian population more than the youth, age 14 and 14 and older. While some seniors are choosing to take on part-time work during their retirement, an aging population means that many who are currently working age will be exiting the workforce themselves in the next number of years. Okay, so this means attracting more students with STEM. And those are STEM is essentially anyone who's going to be working in technology or medicine or engineering, and other increasingly critical study areas like business, psychology, and marketing, among others. So the diversity dividend is beyond diversity, we must also ensure that our future economy is inclusive, accessible, and diverse at all levels. The recent census highlighted that Indigenous population growth is 4 times that of non-Indigenous populations in Canada. However, on a national level, fewer than 2% of Indigenous people were employed in top tech roles. Okay, so this is just a reminder that these things of diversity and dividends still need to be enforced and extremely critical when we're talking about employment in Canada. Okay, so that in itself essentially wraps up my presentation. I just wanted to thank everyone for taking the time out to listen, wherever you might be in Canada or wherever you might be in the world to listen to this presentation. You can find us at ICTC, on Twitter at ICTC_CTIC. You can also find us on YouTube at the Digital Economy Pulse, where we post things regularly. And also you're more than welcome to join our LinkedIn page, which is Information and Communications Technology Council. And my personal contact information, if you guys do have any other questions, I can leave it in the chat at one point, but it's m.malcolm, so MALCOLM at ICTC-CTIC.ca. Okay, so that concludes my presentation. And if anybody has any questions, I think now would be the time to take them.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Mosi. That was Mosi Malcolm. Thanks for that excellent presentation. And thank you for the numbers you shared, because that is a lot of opportunity. So great. Thank you so much. We've had a few questions come in, quite a few actually. So we'll take maybe 3 or 4. And as you said, people can email you with additional questions, or they can send it to us and we'll forward it on. So the first one, let's go with, do business analysts and project managers have to be CBAP or PMP certified to have those certificates to enter the market, or will experience help?
In regards to those positions, PMP I do know is essential. In order for you to get recognized by not only by those larger companies like IBM or KPMG or PwC, even for those smaller startup companies like I mentioned, TDI Firm or Bow Valley College, positions like those you do need PMP certification in order to be, especially for business analysts, for sure. And project managing, 100%. I work with so many of those specifically types of roles, and I see their resume, and they might have other programming languages or they might have other technical skills that are highlighted, but majority of the job postings and job listings that I come across, PMP is it's guaranteed. The CBA, you might be able, if you might be able to find a loophole around it, or if you would maybe, you know, not necessarily get the full training, or at least get some sort of training on it, you'll have a better chance. But for you to, I know for sure PMP, you need it.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So a follow-up for that is, when do you start the training. So somebody's saying, I'm an IT professional currently overseas and was supposed to land already, but it was postponed due to COVID. Is there
Yes.
anything I can do in the meantime to prepare?
Unfortunately, I don't think any of us foresaw anything as COVID coming to put a damper on a lot of our lives or a lot of our plans or aspirations of coming to Canada. My only recommendation, because I do have some clients who are still in overseas, is just to make sure that you can apply if you have a landing date, and you have a landing address that you feel comfortable using when applying, then please do use it. But my one constraint would be if you're still living in, let's say, I don't know, Nigeria, and you're planning to come to Canada and you still don't have a Canadian address, don't apply for the position. And the reason I say that is because you're going to be applying for that position with your Nigerian address, and it's going to come across on the Canadian side as where we might be looking for as like hiring manager or manager. Once they see that address, they're not going to pay it any attention.
Mm-hmm. That's looking for work, but what
Yes.
about getting certificates or getting certified or training? Can they start that overseas?
Yes, most definitely. I would encourage that to be started overseas so that when you're actually in Canada, you're in a better position to actually do so.
Mm-hmm. Great. The next one is I have extensive project management experience, training, and a certification. Do I need training and certification to provide my services within the IT industry?
No, I don't believe so. No, as long as you have, as long as you know that you're confident in yourself, and I didn't speak about filtered AI, but filtered AI is something that I guess once you join our organization, which would be ICTC, is a test that we can provide to you, whatever your specific job title may be. It's a test that you can do. That tests your actual skills to see how you actually rank with your technical skills and your coding and your programming languages and things of that nature.
Okay. Will a graduate's certificate in PMP be helpful, or is a PMP a must?
A PMP is a must, but if you're a graduate, then obviously that's just a bonus. But I will say for those specific positions like business analysts and project managers, PMP is essential. I've come across so many where, they might not have had that. And I've told them, you know what, I can still tailor your resume and I can still highlight some of the other skills that you may have. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't come back successful because PMP literally goes hand in hand with business analyst and project manager.
Okay, this is a very specific question.
Yep.
Is there a high demand regarding Tableau in a business analyst role? Can you recommend an institution where this can be learned? So I'm guessing that Tableau is a specific software.
Yeah, Tableau is a specific software. I wouldn't say it's as necessary as PMP, but there are it's more specified for a specific role. Depending on the role itself, some organizations might want it, but some might be able to look past it. So that's a very subjective kind of question. But as far as training, I'm sure there's probably some places, even in your home country, where you might be able to attain some of those that skills. And not to mention, the good thing about IT is some of these skills can be self-taught.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these skills can be self-taught. It doesn't necessarily have to come from an institution, and that's what happens with this non-regulated sector, which is what ICT is. With it not being a regulated sector, you have that opportunity to, if you have the capacity, then you can teach yourself to a certain extent some of these programming languages.
Great. And then another specific question, what are the opportunities for cloud computing skills in Canada?
So cloud computing is big. It is getting big. It's kind of, it's up there now with like AI. So it's one of those programming languages that if you do want to take the time out to be familiar with them, you will definitely find job opportunities here in Canada.
Mm-hmm. And is there a website or a resource where people can see what opportunities exist, currently exist, or are in high demand?
So there's Modus. Modus is more for salaries, but if you're looking for positions that are just in high demand, our website, ICTC, has tons of, a lot of information on what specific, because we're, like I said in the very beginning of my presentation, ICTC is broken down into talent and research. So if you go on that research side of our website, you'll be able to find a lot of tangible numbers and concrete numbers as far as what is specifically in demand, what, you know, what skills you really need, what programming languages you need, what education you might need to actually be successful in Canada, opposed to maybe where your home country might be.
Okay, great. There are a few other questions we cannot get through, but we will find a way to get it to you. Thank you so much for, do you want to share your website address again?
Yes, I can. Should I put it in the chat?
Yes, please. And
yes.
It's ICTC.
Yes. CTIC.ca.
.ca. Great, great. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
That was great.
And it's Information and Communications Technology Council. For any of those who might wonder what the acronym is, and the CTIC is just the acronym in French.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mosey.
No worries.
And before we go to the next speaker, I'm just going to tell you about an opportunity. So if you're a woman in the IT sector, we have some information about a new initiative. So this is the IMTAC OCCSC initiative in partnership with Lighthouse Labs has launched a program for newcomer women in Ottawa and Eastern Ontario with a background in IT. So this is a 12-week full-time intensive online program to help women upskill and become certified full-stack developers while mastering their workplace communication skills. And you will also have an opportunity to work on employer projects and receive one-on-one employment support. And they are currently recruiting for their October cohort, and they've shared this with us. So, you know, we'll share that posting in the chat box, or, you know, just email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca and we'll share it with you. So this is for newcomer women. Okay, so now to our second speaker, Katherine Steele. So this is the second speaker of the Canadian Immigrant Web Conference series for internationally trained IT professionals, sponsored by Windmill Microlending and English Pronunciation for Success. So a little about Katherine before she begins. Katherine Steele is known internationally as a clear communicator. She's a speaker, coach, and consultant who trains corporate teams and individuals on the clear speaking skills necessary to be competitive in today's global marketplace. Her experience coaching over 7,000 clients on pronunciation for personal and professional success have made her one of the most sought after speakers on pronunciation in Canada. So Katherine, the floor is yours. And once again, if you have any questions, type them in the right-hand side box, and we will answer them after Katherine's presentation. And you can also email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca with your questions. So Katherine, we're thrilled to have you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint presentation. And let's see. All right, do you see my slides?
Yes. Yep.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to be speaking on how to overcome the unique communication barriers IT professionals face in Canada. And I'm Katherine Steele. My company is English Pronunciation for Success, and I help people in all sectors develop clear communication skills that are essential once you get to North America. And although many of my clients have English as a first language, and all of my clients have English as a strong language, when they arrive in Canada, they find that there are significant differences and difficulties. So we're going to be looking at that. Thank you so much to Canadian Immigrant for inviting me to speak. How do you overcome the unique barriers? This is a brief overview, and I'm going to uncover some surprising challenges that are faced by your listeners. I'll clarify the reason that these are such serious issues and suggest some strategies to adjust your pronunciation style and address the problem. And I'm having, there we go. This presentation is for you if you hope to work in IT in Canada, and if you will be in direct contact with clients, or know that you'll be working with other members of the tech profession, and this includes everyone. More than many countries, IT is integrated with all of the other stakeholders in Canada, and some of the companies are very small, so you take a major front-facing role. You're going to learn which areas of communication support your speaking goals in the field of IT, and these are the main three. How do you adjust to the needs of your audience? How do you support your listener? And how do you develop the core skills to deliver your key message quickly and easily? Time is of the essence in IT. So you're going to know why IT professionals have earned the name difficult to talk to. This may not be true, but it is, as an industry, along with engineering, this is seen as an industry that's difficult to understand and difficult to have a conversation about, especially if you're not part of that industry. How to handle requests for IT assistance over the phone. And with COVID, it has become an increasing burden that things have to be handled over the phone or over a Zoom call where it's not always clear, and how to show urgency without offending the listener. As I mentioned, time crunches are a problem, and how do you get across that you need to hurry without hurting the other person's feelings? So here we go, the big one. Why have IT professionals earned the name difficult to talk to? And I do this to mean that's a phrase that's used. It is not the belief of everyone, and it may not even be true. It's quoted. Impatience with listeners who don't understand industry jargon is often what will hurt you the most. You have to know that most people don't know the words that you're using every day and that are familiar to you. If they feel as though you are impatient with them, they will stop asking important questions, and they will actually not understand what you are saying because they don't know your words. They haven't asked you about your words. Arrogant body language. We're going to look at this very carefully. How approachable do you look? And I have a picture to show you this. There we are. Are you wearing headphones? Is your back turned to people? Is your attention on screens rather than on your listener? This is the job description, right? So how do you handle this? If this looks arrogant and it looks like questions are not acceptable, how do you handle that? There's also the idea that there is no eye contact, and that the person talking about tech is often controlling the angle of the screen. And so the person that knows less about tech or is listening can't actually see what's happening, doesn't know where you are, where you're pointing, can't see the cursor at all. These are problems that are specific to IT. So learn to handle your listeners' concerns before they arise. I think this is the most effective. Create a mental checklist of attentive mode behaviors. So if you're seen as arrogant and not listening, what does it look like to be attentive? So even if there are just a few sections where you show that you're interested, your relationship will be stronger. Smile over your shoulder, right? They come into the room, you smile over your shoulder, you put up one finger to say, just a second, you save your work, you cover your private files, and then you turn around fully, turn all the way around, take the headphones off, place them on the desk, you smile, and you say, what can I do for you? If you go through this checklist each time, the person will know that they have your attention, even for a brief space of time. Let's talk about the phone. How do you handle requests for IT assistance over the phone? The phone itself creates technical problems. Understand your client's need for an old-fashioned phone conversation. Maybe not a headset phone conversation, maybe not a Zoom conversation. They want a real phone conversation with you. And a part of that is no interruptions. So enhance your voice. Make sure it's really easy to hear you. Speaker is helpful because you want to be looking at the screen and typing. However, if they can't hear you or know that there's something else going on around you, they won't feel that they have your full attention. Use the mute button. Help to eliminate the background noise. However, if the mute button is on too long when someone has asked a question, they don't believe that you are with them. They don't understand that you've forgotten to hit the mute. They probably think that you're doing other work at the same time that they're trying to explain their problem. And remember that no one listens as fast as your tech brain. So you have to speak slowly. Even though you're thinking quickly about the problem and how to fix it, you need to speak slowly. So how do you do this? Everybody says, I really speak so fast. But how do you fix it? I have a solution for you. Slow down by imagining that the other person needs to hear your echo. Not the first thing that you say, but the repetition in their mind where they can translate vocabulary that they don't know. So think of it coming back to you off the mountain. When it comes back, that's the next chance for you to speak. Let it go, let them think. It comes back in your mind. Say something else. Develop the skill, on the phone especially, of laser-focused repetition. You only get to say one sorry or one pardon. I want you to understand that if you repeat this phrase, you're repeating, I wasn't listening, I wasn't listening, I wasn't listening. That's what it means to us. Sorry means I wasn't listening. Do not use this more than once. Not twice, not 3 times, not 10 times. I hear people saying, sorry, sorry, sorry. You're not sorry anymore. It sounds like you haven't been listening at all. So how do you ask? Laser focused questions are, what was the first part? You may hear when they say the first part, the entire sentence again. Great. It's almost as though you said sorry or pardon. Could you repeat the last word? People don't remember what the last word was. They're going to say the whole sentence again. Could you spell the word after problem with? And the message on the screen said critical error what? And the answer to that type of question where you say what is only that piece, only the piece that you need. So the correct answer does not repeat critical error. It jumps to the next word in the sentence. Maybe the idea was critical error saving. So you say critical error what? Saving. They will answer saving. Another word about spelling in English. On the screen you see 32017 BCD, a bunch of alphabet letters. These letters rhyme with the word see. I'll show you again. You need to exaggerate the E sound. So 3, 20, 17, B, C, D, E, G, P, T, V. If you say C, I don't know that it's a letter. If you say B, I don't know that it's a letter. And so I don't even know that you're spelling the word to me. So make sure you exaggerate the sound. How do you say the name of this company? S-A-P. Stretch the P. Not SAP. Sometimes people create a word out of the acronym. There's no KPMG. It's KPMG, right? For example. Spelling strategies. In Canada, we mostly don't know the military names of the letters of the alphabet. Alpha, Beta, Charlie, Echo, Foxtrot, etc. We don't know those. We're not such a military country. The United States may. People may know those words better, faster. So in Canada, if you're using an unfamiliar word or an unfamiliar name, number one, don't immediately start spelling. That's very confusing. Just say your name and then wait for the listener to request that you spell it for them. And then when you spell, use longer familiar words such as A as in apple, B as in banana, C as in Canada, D as in dinosaur, right? That will help you more. There are 3 numbers to watch here, 7, 10, and 20. When you watch my face, you're going to notice that they are quick smiles, 7, 10, 20. They have the same sound as the word red. Red. I'm wearing red today for that purpose. You're going to break the tech code for your listener. It's almost like there's a top secret tech code. Different terminology. IT professionals have taken ordinary words and used them in completely new ways. So what really confuses us when everyday English words that we spoke in all of our lives are used in new ways that sound alien and create a new secret language or code is that we feel that we're not included. And the very fact that people are coders means that there's something hidden and exclusive to members only. It may not be true, but it has a feeling. So the person feels a little bit pushed away as though they don't understand the code. They're not in the club. I'm using a lot of air quotes. Interface, for example. You may think of interface as a computer idea. However, other people are thinking of it as something from sewing. The lining or the thickening inside a jacket, for example, is the interface. Cloud or cloud. Are you talking about the weather? Clout, right? Personal power, or even crowd, depending on pronunciation. Ruby on Rails, of course, are words that we will misunderstand. Sounds like rupee, loopy, doobie, right? Make sure the person is actually hearing what you think they're hearing. Reach sounds like rich. Element, this is a big one. We're thinking stove element, scientific elements, or with mispronunciation, element, right? Or LMN, maybe they think you're spelling LMNOP. Let's look at Slack. The term that we will understand, especially here in Vancouver, is a slack line on a ship. Or mountain climbing. You don't want a slack line in some situations. Or snack, depending on the pronunciation. Sass, I love this one. Sass to me means to speak back to your parent and say no, or yell at your parent. It might sound like sauce. It might sound like says. Good morning, let the stress, I think it says, begin. So develop a full sentence that explains what you do. And this sentence, I'm in IT, is very confusing. It's not full enough. There's not enough context to distinguish those letters from other more familiar words. So did you say ID, 90, high T, right? There are some languages that will add an H to that sound. Newly created words in IT often use familiar words. Here we have block, and combine them with other known words, chain, and yet we still don't have, there's a chain link fence and a chain blocking the way. This bicycle chain might be blocked. We don't have the complete picture. We do not get blockchain. And then people give us definitions. You must simplify your definition. It is this act of linking blocks into a chain that makes the information stored on a blockchain so trustworthy. This is actually quite a good simplification, but I've put another one at the bottom, and I've said that it's a more secure method of storing computer data using group awareness of any changes. And I don't know if I'm right, but I'm trying to use words that will make sense to a person who doesn't know about IT. Your industry may have embraced technology that's been used to bully or belittle someone. You have to be careful. You don't want to hurt someone's feelings. So err on the side of caution and only use those words with friends in the same industry. And some of these words are Geek. Okay, be sure your tech words don't hurt feelings. Nerd. And make sure you don't damage your credibility. Fail fast, fail often. That's a great concept, but your client doesn't want to hear about failure. Keep it under your hat. Use sentences with your clients and your colleagues and the stakeholders, such as, we'll find the perfect scenario for your unique situation. By failing fast and failing often, yes, but don't say that to them. They won't trust that you know what you're doing. They think you're playing with their money and their time. Help listeners understand what you do and how you can help them. Does this sound familiar? I'm a developer. Great. No, I'm not a real estate developer, which would be the understanding of the person that's listening to you. I'm an engineer. No, not a real engineer. Do you see how I'm going with this? You love IT, but the terms are only familiar to you. Develop an awareness of which words sound similar, especially on the phone. And note, in IT, context, as I've mentioned, doesn't help your listener. Take notes, keep track, and create small stories or explanations for common tech problems and questions that you're getting. Your listener is often trying to understand what you've said and repeats it back to you in another way. Write down the other way, and then the next time you explain what you do, the person will understand quickly because you're using the simplified version. So collect all that data from people that you listen to. Which of the following words would add information and help your listener identify your role? Computer, developer, engineer, firewall, coding, application, graphic artist, internet, backend, user experience, UX, app, PM, tech, front end. Some of them are very tech-oriented, and some of them are helpful to people. So if you say, I'm a computer developer, a computer engineer, I do computer code, I make computer applications. Do you see where I'm going with this? Just by adding that one piece of context, computer, the person will understand what you do. I'm an engineer? No, I'm a computer engineer. I'm a developer? No. I'm a computer tech, IT, program developer. Something that connects the ideas. Draw them a mental picture. Or they will draw one for themselves that you may or may not like. Front end, that's what I understand to be a front end. This is a front end loader. You're the PM? Prime Minister? Really? You're a graphic designer. Graphic can mean horrible, gory, too much information. You work on the firewall. In the summer in Canada, we're very aware of the risk of fire. You're a back-end developer. I was very happy to find this image. UX, right? They don't know what UX is. What do they hear? So, help hiring managers see your soft skills. They're saying that communication, critical observation, and availability are difficult to find. They have the hardest time finding qualified candidates with skills in those areas. Your communication can improve. Your critical observation is understanding what your listener needs and how they express themselves. And your adaptability is your willingness to put those into your everyday working life. How do you show urgency without offending the listener? Great, Katherine. I create context. I use those longer phrases. I try to explain to people what I do in terms they understand, but it takes longer and I don't have time. This is the part. So in IT, shortcut keys, direct phrasing are common. However, short and sweet hurt your chances. Use longer phrases and feeling vocabulary to get people on your side. It saves time despite being longer, and it builds stronger relationships. Openly deal with conflicting goals. This is critical. Name the constraints your client or colleague is under. We don't always openly share that because technology makes us available 24/7, we're overburdened. We can't think, and we are not as effective as we might be. There's no way of turning off requests for our help, and we overschedule. Use that knowledge to mention your own concerns. If you talk to your listener about their concerns regarding time and urgency, it brings up the opportunity to mention your concerns, your deadlines, your hard stops. Tight deadlines, demands on your time, interruptions are going to get in the way, especially of an IT professional who is actually holding another language in their head. Coding, programming, understanding how the computer works and what the client needs and what the person with the money needs. That's like speaking several other languages. When you're interrupted, you have to start again, basically. So interruptions are terrible in this field. What you need to do is make sure the person feels that they've been heard and that you're courteous. And there is a way to do that using intonation, the music of the language. To show that we're in a hurry, we shorten our words. That's okay. Everybody does that. It's a way of saying, yep, okay, I'll get back to you tomorrow. I can hear that you need to hurry because your words are short. We make sharper movements. Yep, tomorrow, perfect. Okay, gonna do it. If you become this fast-moving, fast-speaking person all the time, the person will always feel like you're in a hurry and don't have time for them. So use it when you want to make that point. Otherwise, try to slow your body language down, try to slow your words down. We look at the screen, we look at the clock, we look at our file, and if the person is paying attention, that means I really need to get back to this, but don't want to interrupt what you're saying. However, if you're giving those 3 pieces of information that you really need to get back to what you're doing, please do your best to leave the conversation in an open, approachable mood. Be sure to raise and lower the last word in each sentence. That shows that you value your listener, and I'm going to show you how to do it. The words that I've underlined lift and fall to show courteous attention. I want to give your project the attention it deserves. I'm almost at a good point to interrupt my current task. I'll set an alarm to call you in about 30 minutes so that I can go over some possible solutions with you. I want to be sure that I've understood all of your goals for this project before I offer an opinion. All right. So the lifting and falling shows that you're courteous. And then there are feeling words. And the feeling words make a stronger connection, a bond between us. Do you see any feeling words in these sentences? I'll give you a minute. And feelings are emotions, showing you care, showing your thinking, showing your understanding. Here they are. I want, deserves, good point, I will, I promise, I can, solutions, with you, want, sure, understood, goals, offer, right? Make sure your sentence has some of these words inside it. How would Canadians describe your speaking style? Let's recap. Why have IT professionals earned the name difficult to talk to? It's probably because of delivery, the body language, the eye contact, and how you show that you care about your listener. How do you handle requests for IT assistance over the phone? This comes down to vowels so that I can hear P, G, etc., and numbers like 10, 7, 20. And emphasis. The computer said what? And what was the first word? That kind of emphasis. How can you show urgency without offending your listener? This was intonation, having the end rise and fall so that they feel confident, so that they know that you listen to them, so that they know that you like them. Stay connected. I encourage you to learn more about Canadian communication topics. I have a monthly webinar where we discuss communication in a North American context. This is the link. I'll give you a minute to copy it down. And if you have questions, I'm always happy to answer. I prefer to be contacted by phone or text. And my website is there, englishpronunciationforsuccess.com. And possibly, as a professional, even better, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Katherine Steele 1. There are a lot of Katherine Steeles. I believe I'm the only pronunciation coach. And please leave me a message. I don't answer unsolicited requests. I only answer requests that include a message.
Katherine, thank you so much. An excellent presentation as always, and some great advice and tips from you. So we're going to start with quite a few questions. Let's see. How will having a non-American English accent impact my chances of getting a job?
That's a really important question, and I'm actually glad that somebody asked it. Sometimes people think that because they have strong English skills or English as a first language, it would make a perfect match. By the time they got to Canada, they would be one of the strongest candidates for a job. And it ends up not being true. I explained that when I watch British television, I use subtitles. So you're coming to a country where it may be very difficult for the person to understand you, despite having the same language. And I think it calms people's fears when I say, I have to have subtitles for British television. I understand some, but I wouldn't say that I understand everything. And when it comes to time and money, I want to understand well. So I believe hiring managers will look for the most qualified person on paper and then interview for the most qualified person personally. So understanding what North Americans need and what slight changes you need to make to be easily understood quickly will be your strongest impact.
And I'm just going to add that don't be offended if people ask you to repeat things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They truly want to know. They want to understand you. They like you. So this is something that's interesting. You come in with 100% points. You come in with the belief that you're smart, you're strong, you're educated, you're funny, you're kind, you're a good fit. You can lose points. So the person, when they ask you more questions, it's a compliment. When they say, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you, it's a compliment. They are still in the conversation. They want to know more. So just keep working and make sure that they are able to understand you.
Okay, great. This is probably, good for the COVID times. What would you say is the must-do tip to prepare for an upcoming Zoom interview?
Oh, wow. Okay. You know your material, right? That's not going to be a problem. You know your credentials. The problem will be that the person listening doesn't know the name of your university, doesn't know the name of your city, will have a problem with your name. And even the tech skills, think of the top tech skills that you really want them to know that you can do, or the top job that you completed or portfolio information. How can you make that really, really clear? That's where you need to make the most North American style if you're trying to find a job in Canada or the States. Make sure that that part really sounds like something the Canadian or the American would be saying. And not the vocabulary. What I mean is, what's the phrase that they would use? if you imagine that the hiring manager probably is not the tech person and does not understand the tech vocabulary, how can you explain what you did and why it was so wonderful in a non-tech way? And that will be your strongest answer, I believe.
Great. And maybe we'll have this be our last question. Any specific tips to modulate our voice?
Oh my goodness. Okay. The one thing that most people find is we are not clear. Okay. We have one clear sound every now and again, and then kind of blah, 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 blah. So if you are trying to make every sound really clearly, I will have a hard time, because each new clear sound is a new word. So I'm trying to create more words out of longer words that we will muffle. The sounds that give us the biggest problems are always the ones that are painful. TH, R, L, V. We can't get past those. They are critical to our understanding of the grammar of the language. So TH, R, L, V, and all those ED and S endings, yes, we really need them. So believe people when they're having trouble, they are having trouble.
Great, Katherine, thank you so much. That was Katherine Steele, and thanks again. So we'll go to our final speaker of the day. So our final speaker at this Canadian Immigrant Web Conference series for internationally trained IT professionals, sponsored by Windmill Microlending and English Pronunciation for Success, is Murli Murthy. So Murli is a creative director and advertising strategist and holds a master's in communications and has held senior positions at various agencies, including JWT, TMP, Bozell, Bates, in diverse markets across North America, Europe, and Asia. In the recent past, he has developed and directed award-winning sites and interactive projects for Rogers, Scotiabank, TD Canada Trust, and RIM, to name a few. He also volunteers his time with CAMP, Communications, Advertising, Marketing Professionals, Canada's first voluntary organization for the marketing fraternity. As chairperson, he helps new Canadians integrate into the job market by providing industry-tested tools, resources, and mentorship. So I should also tell you that Murli has been writing the Career Coach column for us at Canadian Immigrant for over a decade, right, Murli? So over a decade. So you can find it if you go to canadianimmigrant.ca or pick up any of our print magazines, you can find Murli's column. So before Murli begins, I'm going to say, if you have questions, type them in the chat box on the right side, and we'll share it with Murli after. So Murli, please, the floor is yours. Please take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Ramya. That's a wonderful introduction. I hope my voice is clear. You can hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Clear.
So we had a wonderful presentation by Mose and then Katherine. A big thanks to Ramya, you, Ricky, and all the management, Laura at Canadian Immigrant, for putting this together in the new normal. You have shown us how to do things. So to all the participants, we see over 70 plus participants. We now come to the end and the most exciting part of this webinar. And my topic is how to brand yourself. We grow up listening to this topic of branding. We hear a lot, but we haven't really worked on it really. If you look at it, we wake up every morning, we choose a brand for a toothpaste. We choose a brand for a breakfast. Even my sanitizer is a brand right now. My lip, this thing is a brand. My car is a brand. The water I drink is a brand. You eat a brand, you drink a brand, you live a brand. Have you realized you are a brand as well? Well, you could be a new immigrant here right now looking to find a job. You could be an engineer, a project manager, anything, a CPA. Remember, in the job market, a recruiter gets hundreds of resumes like yours. Why should he or she pick you up? For the very reason you pick up a particular brand over hundreds of competitors. Why do you pick up Starbucks or Tim Hortons over hundreds of coffee brands, or a Samsung or an Apple phone over hundreds of others? That is exactly the way a recruiter makes a decision. Maybe you are a businessman, an entrepreneur trying to increase your market share. but why should a client or a customer pick you from anyone else? So I hope you understand that I could be a student, I could be an immigrant looking to get a job, I could be a professional looking to advance in my career, or I could be a businessman, or you could be a housewife. Irrespective of who you are as an individual, you are a brand, and there are 5 steps to build a brand properly. Universally, organizations have built brands properly. Even human beings, individuals can be brands as well. So let's jump right into the topic of branding and how in 5 easy steps you can understand how a brand can be built. So here we go. Let me share screen, and here we go. I hope Ramya and everyone on the screens can be seen. I hope all is good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So like Ramya said, you're also free to use the chat box. This is a proud Canadian Immigrant publication and a presentation. So we're proud to partner with them at the very first and the first of many web conference and sponsored by Windmill Microlending. So let's go. 5 steps to build your personal brand, and also let me add your professional brand and your business brand. Our objective today is take your brand from invisible to wow. So this is how we'll do it. I will cover the 5 steps universally organizations do and brands do, and then we'll do a step-by-step process of how you can build your brand. Irrespective of wherever you are, you can build your brand from scratch, and we can take answers in the end. The 5 definite steps to build your personal and business brand. A little about me. That's my website, aceworldfoundation.com. Like Ramya said, I've been proudly associated with the Canadian Immigrant for over a decade now. I'm a business branding coach, a leadership coach. That is exactly what I do. I help you define your edge, build your brand, and unleash the greatness within you. Unleash your wow. I've written many books over the years. My articles have been published in the Canadian Immigrant. And this is a branding book that I'll be writing shortly. It's going to come out. But today it's about you. That was a little about me. What are the 5 steps to build your brand? What is a brand, my friends? A beautiful description by Seth Godin. A brand is a set of expectations, memories, and stories. Every brand has a story. When put together, it makes us decide to choose one particular brand over the other. Many times it's not the features. For Apple users and Samsung users, there is a constant battle. Android is better than Apple. Android is cheaper than Apple, but Apple is a $1 trillion industry. You see what I'm saying? The skill set has nothing to do with a brand. Branding is all perception. If you're perceived to be a leader or an expert, you're a brand. Why did I say that? If you're looking for a job, if you're perceived to be an expert or an authority in your field, you stand a better chance to get noticed and get hired. So building a brand becomes very important. Your brand is the single most important investment you can make in your life and in your business. A quote by Steve Forbes. Coffee is coffee. Somehow you won't feel the sense of satisfaction holding a styrofoam cup with coffee in it, even if it is Starbucks. And as a result, these brands don't get valued. If you're not branded, you might not get a good salary negotiation happening. But if you just get stamped, you can decide the domain you play in, right? Branding changes everything. Branding changes everything. That's an ordinary t-shirt made somewhere in the Far East. Put the Nike logo on it, you can charge any price you want, isn't it? Branding changes everything. And so my friends, what are the 5 levels of branding? Brand insignificance. Each one of us starts with a brand insignificance or a brand ignorance. Remember, the Apples of the world and the Disneys of the world were unknown. They were insignificant. Well, what did they do? When you're insignificant, you got to create a disruption. Level number 2, brand disruption, a brand differentiation, a brand specialization. That leads you to deliver a brand experience. Are you creating a brand experience? Today, it's all about delivering a brand experience. Brand loyalty, when you deliver a good brand experience, people get loyal to you, people swear by you. Even in the elections, no one is voting the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. It is individual based, okay? And finally, brand authority. Wow. You can go from insignificant to wow. You can go from okay to wow, okay to awesome, and ordinary to extraordinary when you follow the 5 steps. This is how brand insignificance looks. You are just a no-name brand in the industry. Sounds familiar? I'm an engineer, but then the recruiter gets 1,000 engineer resumes. Why choose you? I'm a tax consultant. Well, there are a dime a dozen. I'm a realtor. There are a dime a dozen. Please build your brand. Learn to build your brand. Social media is a great tool. Your LinkedIn profile is a great tool. Matter of fact, Ramya, just this morning, I think you shared a beautiful article on how to contact recruiters through LinkedIn. You can build your brand through social media, whether you are a solo individual or a corporation. Well, that's how insignificance looks. And this is a beautiful quote by Ryan Holmes, the CEO of Hootsuite, said early last year. Why is it hard to break through? The average individual gets exposed to an upward of 5,000 ads per day, and that includes you. And that includes the recruiter you're trying to reach. That includes the customer and the client you're trying to penetrate. That individual like you and me is getting bombarded by spam emails and this and WhatsApp and this and all the social media. How do you cut through, right? And that is important. That's why branding is important. And very often people have LinkedIn profile, I see resumes, I see company pages, no emotion. A message without emotion will have no emotion, and your well-crafted message is like the car parked on the highway, not moving anywhere. These are some inspirational brand statements. For it was never about cars, making the planet a better place to be. Starbucks was never about coffee, to nurture the human spirit. Twitter was never about content sharing, to give everyone the power to create and share ideas. That's called brand building, okay? Brand disruption, level number 2. Hey, you built an identity, you got a logo, and you got a brand statement. What do you do from here? Remember, it's about creating a specialization or a differentiation in the market. Everyone's got their own way. One famous example that comes to mind is Domino's Pizza. Many years back in the 70s, the pizza market was chock-a-block, and then Pizza Hut was ruling, and how could Domino break through? It was number 19. Well, it said it couldn't compete on quality or price. Onion can only get that soft. Mushrooms can only get that spicy. And so Domino's said 30 minutes or a Domino's free or a pizza is free. Well, they did move up to number 3. This campaign has long been stopped because of a lot of issues, but nowadays they say 30 minutes or 30% of your price can be taken off. It's a brand disruption, okay? Uber is a beautiful brand description. Just when we thought taxi companies were ruling the roost, here comes Uber. Disrupts the market, makes you and I powerful. The day belongs to you. How can you disrupt the life of your audience and give them more power? If you are a job seeker, can you give your recruiter more power? Think about it. Count shoes. Buy one, get one free. Buy one shoe and you get one shoe that you can contribute to any place in Africa. Isn't that a beautiful thought? They're improving lives. That is a brand disruption. Suddenly no one is talking about the quality of the product. Your skills don't matter, your perception matters in how human beings and your audience place you in the hierarchy. Brand experience. People do not buy goods or services. Don't make the mistake of understanding. You know, earlier, Ramya, we had shared an article. When it comes to choosing the best candidate, even when it comes to the top 2 or 3, people always go for something intangible like a culture fit. We felt this individual could fit in better. You know, people can't express words. It's because of the brand experience you delivered at the interview table, right? Through your resume, through your LinkedIn. And so people buy magic and stories. Who can show us about brand experience? Come on, Nike. Just a sneaker, just a t-shirt, but just do it. Inspires millions. Open happiness. Come on, Coke is carbonated water. Look what they're doing. Think different. And every Applophobe in the world thinks different. He expects Apple to come out with a different product. The brand experience drives expectations and beliefs. Your brand experience with a recruiter or your client or customer will drive a certain expectation from you. All right, brand experience. Well, Murli, you spoke about companies and all that's great. What about human beings? Well, look around. These were individual human beings. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi just wanted to be a lawyer. He's a brand today called Mahatma Gandhi. Oprah Winfrey came from a background so impoverished you and I can't even imagine. She's a brand today. Martin Luther King at 25, at the age of 25, he had latched on to a dream. I have a dream. And he built a brand for himself. Find a purpose, find a cause, Let it reflect in the way you live life. The job you seek is yours. The clients you seek are yours. Be a brand or get relegated. All right. Brand loyalty. Which brand best brand loyalty? I just said it earlier. Take a cup, put boiling water in it and a coffee bean and it's coffee. But $4 and $5 for it, come on, Starbucks. Hey, it was never the coffee. It was the brand experience that led to brand loyalty. And who can tell us about brand loyalty than the man himself, the owner of Starbucks, Howard Schultz? If people believe they share values with a brand, with you, with a company, they will stand loyal to the brand. If people believe they share values with you, and this is an example of brand loyalty, there is something that happens when people hold a Starbucks cup and they're willing to stand in line and pay $4 and $5 for it because it's become social currency. Social currency is what drives the brand loyalty for Starbucks. At the same time, it's also practical value. The Starbucks store pre-COVID and even now at select places is a meeting point. It's often called the third home. People, where do you go after you win a major presentation, after you win a game? People go to a Starbucks. You see, it's gone beyond coffee and it includes many things. In the minds of a recruiter, if you're a new candidate, if you're a new student or an immigrant looking for a job, beyond your resume, how do you cut through the clutter? From among the crowd, how do you go to above the crowd, and how do you find place top of mind in the recruiter's mind that can create brand loyalty? Brand authority. Disney. There are brand authorities in every field, right? I can put up any entertainment show in my backyard or in a strip mall. Nothing beats Disney. Disneyland. You know, even the janitors there are called cast members. Everyone takes pride in the way they work, right? Who else is an example of brand authority in their field? Walmart. You and I won't go to the nearby grocery store to buy a loaf of bread, but I will drive 3 blocks away, try to find parking and go and stand in line at Walmart to pick up the same loaf of bread. Save money, live better. And so there are people who swear. In every category, there are brands that are perceived to be authorities. I can buy bread anywhere, but why Walmart? Perceived to be an authority, right? Burgers. I can pick up burger anywhere, but McDonald's is perceived to be an authority. 1 billion served. Perception is very important in branding. And so that is a typical Walmart customer snapped outside the Walmart store. She will not shop anywhere. So that, my friend, are the 5 levels of brand building. You may be insignificant, build an identity, create a disruption in the market, deliver an experience, create loyalty and authority. Now we come to the most exciting part. Building brand you. All this is great, Murli. Apple and Google and Amazon and Uber and Elon Musk, all that's great. What about you? Yes, my friend. The greatest brand in the world is not Google and Amazon and Microsoft. The greatest brand in the world, according to me, is you. I always say this, Ramya. You were born unique. Look at your thumbprint. The universe created you as a unique human being. Why do you live a photocopy? You are born unique, you live a photocopy. I don't know, I'm an MBA, I'm an engineer, I'm a CPA, and so it goes on. Break free. You don't have to step in and fit into the norm. A brand fits out of the norm, okay? How do we build brand you? The same 5 steps. Create an identity for you, create a solid identity for you, help you disrupt the market, deliver a brand experience, create loyalty and be seen as an authority. Every job finder, every guy gets a job somehow is seen as an authority over other equally talented candidates. So let's take you from the 5 steps. How do I create a brand authority, Murli? How do I create brand identity? Well, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, your whole personality, your persona. It is not the paper resume. The paper resume can only take you so far. It's what you add to it. Your charisma, your magnetism comes from within. I specialize in brand building and I will drop my contact details in the chat box. You can get in touch with me on how to build a brand. Whether you are a student, want to upgrade a resume, or you want to reach a client, great resources available on Canadian Immigrant. We all written about it. But let's focus on the first step, creating a brand identity. Determine your emotional appeal. Showcase your specialization. Okay, maybe you're a CPA, but your CPA will work with the top 5. Something that stands out. Maybe you're an author, but you're an award-winning author. Maybe you're an author, but you're an Amazon best-selling author. There's always some differentiation. Okay, define your unique value proposition. What's a unique value proposition? What is a unique thing you can bring to the table? I want you to remember, if you are a candidate looking for a job, people don't hire you because of your good looks or your credentials. They hire you because on your perceived ability to solve a problem. Your unique value proposition comes from, here is how I can solve the problem better. Make it easier for the recruiter to hire you. That's your competitive advantage. And yes, my friend, please create a robust, optimized online presence. Okay, and which is where the LinkedIn article that the Canadian Immigrant has shared this morning will help you. Creating an optimized presence is very important on LinkedIn. Use unique links. Link it back to a blog you write, to social media posts. Always do links. I didn't write this, I picked it off Google. Take a second to read this. The first sentence in the book Guerrilla Marketing Today. Your online credibility often determines your overall income. What shows up when your name is typed on Google? Let me tell you, my friends, in the 21st century, in August of 2020, your paper resume is no longer your resume. Your Google ranking is your resume. Your Google page one is better. Okay? And so there are steps to do this without spending money. Don't worry about spending money. You can do it without spending money. If you live true to your uniqueness, you can be on Google page one. Once you've created a brand identity, how do I initiate a brand disruption, Murli? I'm just an individual. Well, for one, it starts here. In your mind, you're unique. Don't fit in. Don't fit in. Enough of fitting in. A lifetime of fitting in. Sit this way, do it this way, do it that way. Do not challenge the status quo, guys. Disrupt. How do you disrupt? Go back to your social media profile. A successful LinkedIn headline should tell me what your value proposition is. No one should ever say, so what? I'm an engineer, so what? I'm a coach, so what? The so what is your disruption point. Say something that people can never say, so what? Go back to the LinkedIn article and we can talk more about it. Today, it's all about building your brand on social media. We started at 2:10. We have 5 more minutes and then we'll take all the questions and answers. Okay, we are running 10 minutes behind schedule. I'll finish in 5 minutes. Building your brand is not in the offline world. Of course, it's how you live and how you dress and how you speak. And like Katherine said, speaking is very important. Communication is very important. But what you do on social media is important. I see a lot of people wasting their time with cat videos and dog videos and all sorts of nonsense. Guys, remember, social media is a responsibility. If you want to build a brand, stay clear out of religious discussions and political discussions. Be very clear, be very protective of your brand. All right? For example, let us say you want to work at RBC. I always ask my candidates, so he or she wants to work at RBC. I said, go to the RBC website, or CIBC, or Scotia, or TD Bank, BMO, anyone. Okay? Or IBM, or Nestle, or pick any brand. You go to their website, they have every social media, YouTube and Pinterest and Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. And you, my friend, may have 1 or 2 social media accounts. Isn't that double standards, guys? You need to do what you say. If you want to work for these organizations that are all over on social media, so should you. Building a brand on social media is common sense, is intelligence, it's a responsibility. Delivering a brand experience. Well, there are many ways. Let's start with Steve Jobs' quote. You have to start with the customer experience in mind and work backwards, not the other way around. Hey recruiter, I'm new in Canada, I want a job. Hey recruiter, I just graduated from so-and-so university, I want a job. Not really. What will happen if the recruiter or the hiring manager hires you? Imagine, what will happen on the first day of job? Then work backward. For people to say, wow, what should you do? What will happen if the client or customer invites you to his property to do his landscaping, if you are a landscaper? What will happen to the client or the customer when you finish the tax services for them, if you're a tax consultant? If I had to say, wow, how should you work backward? And that is why Apple continues to create great products. Okay, start with the customer experience. A brand has a story. Your unique story has to be reflected. The way you do a job, the way you do a work. Here is an interesting story. The iPod, we all know, took the music world by storm. When Steve Jobs launched it, he did not say 5 gigabit hard drive in this unit. You know what he said? 1000 songs in your pocket. You tell me, 5 gigabit hard drive versus 1000 songs in your pocket. Which sounds better? I call it fire the imagination. Your LinkedIn title should fire the imagination. Your resume, your opening lines on your resume, your value proposition of resume should fire the imagination. When you're called to an interview and people ask you, tell me about yourself, what do you do? It must fire the imagination. Okay. Otherwise, remember, people are always willing to say, so what? Don't let anyone have say, so what? That is how you create a brand experience. It can never be copied. It can only be created. Once again, you can work with me later. I can help you I can show you how to do it. People don't care about you. They care about that problem. The hiring manager is caring about his problem. Be the solution. Be the solution that they're looking for. Can I tell you one thing, guys? I did not design any of these images. I'm not a designer. I'm a content writer. Guess what? I picked up each one of these images from the internet. They are available. You Google it, you can find it. Be the solution to people's problems. Live your life as a solution to your hiring manager, to your recruiter. The company you want to work for has a position for you. Be the brand they seek. Okay, be a solution. How do you earn brand loyalty? This, my friend, is a new normal. We might not go back to the old normal. In the old normal, I would go up on stage and Ramya would hand me a mic and there would be all of you sitting in the room and me and Ricky and Laura would walk around, take talks and people would take pictures. Well, I don't know if we're going back to that old normal, but this is a new normal. The digital world, and I call it high tech meets high touch. The high tech is taken care of. We are on a Zoom platform and everyone's taking care of the high tech. Digitally, we are safe and sound. What about the high touch? What about your brand? You've got to deliver a highly personalized experience in the high tech, high touch environment. And that is how you create brand loyalty. And you can go from an indifferent audience who couldn't care about you, why you so what, to raving fans. Each one of us went from an indifferent audience to a raving fan. Have you seen people walk into a soccer stadium and FC Barcelona and Chelsea and they paint their faces red and orange and all and maple leaf, they do it, you're a raving fan. How about turning a recruiter or a hiring manager into a raving fan? They just love what you do, what you say, what people say about you. The blog posts you do, the podcasts you do, the videos you do, it's how you live your life. Okay? Brand authority. Murli, how do I become an authority? Here is a tip. Volunteer. So don't sit and think and keep on sending out resumes or reaching out customers. Email marketing is great, but influencer marketing is still better. You become a brand authority by serving the community. As you sow, so shall you reap. Give, gain, grow. Okay, here is an example. Just a random example I picked up. I don't know this lady, Katie Lyons, but when I went to her LinkedIn page, this is what I found. She's a CEO owner, blah, blah, blah. She's a contributor, blah, blah, all that's great. Look at the blog post she's writing. Canadian Immigrant right now is offering us this free service. Did you realize that? They are serving, and that is why they are called an authority in their field. You want to be an authority, be pursued as an authority. So write a blog about your industry. Maybe you're looking for a job in HR. Maybe you could write a blog, the post-HR, the post-pandemic scenario in HR, and post it and share it on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. Do something, but be active in your field. In the pandemic era, it's more important to be razor sharp and to be an authority. And you go from among the crowd to above the crowd as a person, as an authority. Once again, people can be brands. Do not give excuses to yourself. The man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror has all the answers. You have the power within yourself. You have the greatness within you to do great things. Never sell yourself as a commodity. Open for opportunities. Looking for a job? No. Do not be a commodity. Add value. Brands add value. Commodities compete on price, and so which is why we see a very sad scenario in this country. People settled for survival jobs as if it's the in thing. It's okay, I'll take $15 job at Walmart, or serve gas at a gas station, or serve coffee at Tim Hortons. Nothing wrong with that. But if you studied for something else, you're a biochemist, can you build a brand of yourself and get the job you truly deserve? Go from commodity to brand, my friend. So what is your brand purpose? What is your brand vision? And what is your brand promise? You have two choices. You can be extinct and get wiped away, or you will be distinct. That, my friend, brings us to this conclusion. Ramya, I think I wrapped it up in the time we left. Okay, and let's start the Q&A right now, right away. These are my contact details. My phone number 416-937-1235. My email murali@asworldfoundation.com, and my website asworldfoundation.com. I am ready for the Q&A, Ramya.
Thank you so much. Your presentations are always very energizing. So we have time for a couple. So let's see. What would you say is the most important way to further build my network to help me find a job in the field I want to work in? Currently, my network is very small.
Okay. Now, at this point of time, we don't know what industry this particular person is, but let's take a generic, maybe IT, or like I kept saying, engineering. So let us take IT. The first thing you want to do to build your network is to join a LinkedIn group in your particular industry. That is the first thing I did when I landed into Canada. I joined LinkedIn groups in my industry. I come from marketing. And Ramya, you may mention it earlier. I went on to create my own group, which is CAMP Networking, the Canadian Association of Marketing Professionals. So whatever the industry is, this person who asked, how do you build a network? Look for an industry look for a network in your industry, join them. Most of them are free. After that, be a valuable contributor. You know, Ramya, I always say this. If it was a physical room, I wouldn't come into a room and keep sitting and staring at your face. I would add value. You know, we would talk about the industry and what's happening. So bring your expertise, share your expertise, make it a forum. You'll have to start, you know, there is a line. In the internet world, if you are not communicating, you are not connecting. So join a network, start communicating and grow your network. That's how you build it.
Great. And this is another question. I'm looking to move to Canada next year. How do I start building my brand from here? I guess they mean overseas, but how do I start building my brand from here?
Okay, great question, Ramya, great thing. Once again, get access to the CanadianImmigrant.ca, look up the article that was posted just today. You could be in any part of the world and you can start building a profile. So that is the first thing. Also look up recruiters in your industry. Start reaching out to them, and that is exactly the article. You build your brand before you come into Canada because you are sharing your expertise about your industry. And there is one website, I could actually put it in the chat box for everyone, which is the Try Things Initiative, Ramya. You know, everyone knows about it, and there is the Toronto Region Immigrant Economic Council, and they have a professional immigrants network. That's it. I've put in a chat box. You could be outside. Join the industry. You could be a CPA, an engineer, a lawyer. There are associations for every industry. Join them. Start making your presence felt as a brand. But definitely contact recruiters in your industry and start building relationships with them before you go to Canada. That can be a great help.
Great. Thank you so much for answering those questions, Murali. And so to wrap up, thank you so much to everyone for attending our web conference series presented by Windmill Microlending and English Pronunciation for Success. So thank you to our speakers, Mosey, Katherine, and Murali, for joining us today and sharing their knowledge and expertise with all of us. And thanks to our sponsors. If you missed anything, this web conference will be posted on CanadianImmigrant.ca for you to rewatch. And if you have any questions, send us an email at info@CanadianImmigrant.ca. So we'll keep you posted about our next web conference. Happens every 2 to 3 weeks for internationally trained professionals. And we look forward to seeing everyone again. So thanks again to our speakers, our sponsors, and all of you for joining us today.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.